Welcome back. Kenya has seen more than its fair share of corruption and nepotism scandals since gaining independence. But this year sees the presidential elections come round for Kenya, and along with them, the hope that they might bring about a turning point in the future of the country. But is the country and its opposition capable of uniting for change? Or can we expect more of the same from whoever should win the presidency? Well, here to discuss this with me is the Honourable Raila Odinga, who launches his presidential bid this weekend. Mr. Odinga, welcome. Very pleasure to have you with us. Sir Jeremy Matam from the University of Tasmania described you as a brave individual who has continued to struggle at considerable personal cost to turn Kenya into a multi-party democracy. How is that struggle going?
Well, the struggle continues because, as you know, it is a process to bring about change. And it is not like instant coffee that you brew and drink at the same time. It has taken a long time, but we are on the march towards realization of the Kenyan dream.
And how much time in this battle for the Kenyan dream, how much time have you had to spend in prison?
I have been in prison 3 times for a total of 8.5 years. There's a detention without trial. In other words, I was never tried and convicted.
Never tried, never convicted?
Never.
Were you tortured?
Of course, there used to be a lot of torture, both physical and psychological. Physical, sometimes when they arrested you, they subject you to a lot of beatings. Psychological in the sense that it was solitary confinement. You are completely alone and incommunicado. Correspondences are very rare. Sometimes letters take as long as 6 months to arrive, and no access to any kind of information from the outside world.
So in a situation like that, what do you do all day? Did they give you books to read or nothing to do?
Initially, they only give you the Bible and the Quran, if you ask for it. Those are the 2 materials that you have. Until later, when they relax it and allow your family to send you some really materials. And they can also give you some materials from the prison library.
Tell me something. Why is it that we see in Kenya and the story of Kenya since independence so much corruption? Why is there, and how would you deal with that?
Well, you see, the corruption in Kenya is systemic. In other words, it is corruption that has been tolerated by the state. Its origin started when they set up a commission. It's called the Ndegwa Commission, which recommended allowing the civil servants to engage in businesses. So the senior civil servants formed their own companies, which were then dealing with government, trading with government, and this created a conflict of interest. Those are the origins of this mega corruption. Then, of course, along with it, there is the petty corruption, which comes as a result of the deterioration in the living standards or cost of living. And then if unchecked, of course, it also spreads and becomes very big. So both petty and mega corruption live side by side in Kenya because it has been tolerated by the state.
I see. And in fact, they say that because of the corruption in Kenya, Foreign Office Minister Kim Howell said that the East African nations' porous borders mean groups such as Al-Qaeda see it as being wide open. Is that a danger? Has that happened too, that Al-Qaeda see that because of the corruption and so on, that they can smuggle more drugs and so on?
Yes, because of the corruption, Kenya is now designated as one of the major transit points for drugs in the world. because the security enforcement agents themselves are corrupt. And as a result of this, there's a lot of porosity in borders and law enforcement agencies. So you find that a number of criminals, drug pushers, people who are doing money laundering, and so on, have an easy way of going through Kenya.
And if you win this election, do you think you can stop this, stop the drug pushers, stop the criminals, stop the corruption? It's a big task for one man.
Certainly, yes. I know the task is big, and I don't underrate it. But I think that we can deal with it by creating a team. It's not an individual. I think that I can create an effective team that can deal with this and create institutions that will help to fight this corruption and restore moral order in our country. I think that Kenyans themselves actually are against corruption. Kenyans would like to lead a normal life and would like to see clean government. And this is what I am promising in my vision.
And one last vital question. Are you going to win?
I believe that if you go into a contest knowing that you're going to lose, you have no business going into a contest in the first place. So I am going into this contest fully confident that I am going to win. But I have said that in the event, or in the unlikely event that I lose, I shall support whoever will win in the contest. Okay?
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we wish you well.
Thank you very much.
Raila Odinga, speaking to me earlier, now from Kenya to Latin America. Last week, Mexico City's assembly passed a law legalizing abortion for the first time. Although it only applies to the first 12 weeks, the law has still split the deeply Catholic country, and church leaders have threatened to excommunicate those who voted to back the bill and any doctor or nurse that performs the procedure. Well, I'm now joined, I'm delighted to say, by Maria Consuelo Mejia in Mexico City, director of the campaigning group Catholics for the Right to Decide, who's been campaigning for this change in the abortion law for the last decade. 10 years is a long time to fight for anything, Maria. It was obviously desperately important to you. Why was that?
Very important. Thank you very much for this invitation. Desperately important, as you were saying, because this means that from now on, women from Mexico City will not be subject to unsafe abortions, putting in risk their lives and their health. And mostly important for me is that women that have no resources, poor women, are those who will be most benefited by this new law.
Absolutely. And at the same time, obviously, in addition to working for this change in the law on abortion, you are also, of course, a Roman Catholic, a practicing Roman Catholic. Is it possible to do both things, to oppose the Roman Catholic Church on abortion and still stay a Roman Catholic?
Yes, it is possible. We can be Catholics and we can support the right of women to safe and legal abortions. And this is because in the Catholic doctrine, moral issues have never been declared dogma, have never been, any pope has until now said an ex cathedra communication about moral issues. In that case, and this is also part of the Catholic doctrine, Catholics have not only the right, but have the due, we are due to obey our own consciences. Liberty of conscience is the basis for human dignity according to this same doctrine. In teachings that are not declared infallible, we as Catholics have the right to follow our consciences. And in this case, women have made decisions, moral decisions, according to their conscience. Not only women, also Catholic men have made decisions regarding the use of contraceptions, the use of resource to abortion or divorce, or many other teachings that have been against the Catholic moral issues. Catholics have this right because they have the right to decide and the right to dissent.
Well, it's very good to talk to you, Maria. Do you see yourself carrying on with other campaigns, a campaign for on the subject of contraception, for instance, or indeed on going from 12 weeks to 18 weeks or whatever on this subject? Are you going to continue your campaign?
Yes, of course. One of the benefits of this law is that the law is providing also changes in terms of the need to promote these campaigns for sexual education and information about contraceptive use. The law is an integral law because it's not only providing the possibility for women to terminate a pregnancy before the 12 weeks, but also the idea is to provide all this education from all the special entities that are now in place in Mexico City. We are very, very enthusiastic to be able to contribute to this campaign, to inform women about what this law means, to inform them that they have the right now at this moment to go to the health services of Mexico City and ask for this service, and also to make a very good emphasis in terms of the fact that it is the most important thing is to avoid unwanted pregnancies.
Well, Maria, thank you very much indeed for joining us from Mexico City. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. After the news, I'll be discussing whether science and religion are friends or enemies, and asking whether rap music is offensive or not. Join me in a couple of minutes.